Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another Scrubcast, brought to you by your favorite scrub, Solaris Quixote, also known as Solaris X. This Scrubcast is brought to you by me. I am a scrub, and this is for you, fellow scrubs, fellow Dota 2 scrubs. The point of this Scrubcast, as I have introduced over the last few episodes, is to help scrub Dota 2 players be better, myself included, primarily myself. I'm learning a lot by going through these videos and doing replays, and I am following a particular hero, played by usually some incredible professional player, um, and seeing what it is that they do. How do they win? Uh, what little tactics do they do? What's their strategy overall? How does this hero fit overall into the game, to the lineup, and how does the individual play it? What little things they do? Because you watch these professional games, and you see the overall picture, and you might have an occasional analysis of a particular hero. The casters and the analysts might focus on a particular hero every once in a while, or they might focus on it extensively, but they don't show everything. And what I've realized is very often the play of a particular hero is not as good, isn't as crazy good as people seem to think it is. Sometimes it is. I found some particular players to be very good at particular heroes. See here, I watched who was it? Mind Control on Beastmaster the other day, and he was astounding. Very, very good. But I watched Polarity on Lion, and other than his fast reaction speed to a gank, he ended up killing the guy who was trying to gank him, which is pretty funny to watch. Other than that, I wasn't super impressed. Now I find that making good decisions appears to be far superior. Kind of having information, seeing what's going on, playing the role that the particular hero is designed to play for that particular lineup appears to be far superior than individual mechanics or skills or anything like that. This match might be different. This match, I'm going to follow this witch doctor here, played by ArtStyle, who is the captain here of NAVI, Team NAVI. Obviously, the TI1 winner is a very different team since then. The only person remaining from the original team is Dendi, who will be playing the Zeus in this particular matchup. Of course, everybody loves Dendi, but I found that the new Navi lineup to be pretty good. And one of the reasons is because not only of the drafting of ArtStyle as the captain, but also of his play. This is some of his games he seems a little sloppy, but I don't know if he practiced on Witch Doctor or if he just had a spectacular game. But I was watching this one, and this is the ESL 1 Frankfurt 2016. I don't think it's a round robin match, I think is what it is. This tournament has not yet been completed. It's coming up here in just a couple of days. But gosh, he is good on this Witch Doctor in this particular game. And I'm going to cast probably another episode right after this one on general playing the Batrider. This was not a Batrider game. I actually originally watched this to see if it was going to be a Batrider game, but it was not. It turns out Witch Doctor had a far greater impact in the game. So I'm going to watch the Witch Doctor. I will occasionally look at the other heroes and see what's going on. But for the most part, I want to see, play this from ArtStyle's perspective. In fact, I'm even going to select his perspective. I want to be able to watch what he sees, see kind of decisions he's making, and hopefully from that information glean some knowledge that I can apply to my own games. Now, just to kind of show the lineup here, we've got Polarity Dota with a Nature's Prophet, Vengeful Spirit, Earth Spirit, Chaos Knight, and Darkseer lineup. You can tell, in this lineup, you can see that there's going to be a Nature's Prophet, a Darkseer in the off lane for sure. There's going to be a Chaos Knight in the safe lane. There's going to be probably a roaming Earth Spirit, potentially a mid-Earth Spirit, and a Vengeful Spirit would probably be supporting the Chaos Knight in lane or also roaming with the Earth Spirit. Nature's Prophet, who knows? Could also be, they could switch it up, have the Chaos Knight mid lane and the Nature's Prophet be safe lane. I think if I remember correctly, this is a Nature's Prophet mid. I don't remember. But what you do have on the other team, the Navi team, the one we're going to be watching, is Zeus, played by Dendi. You're going to have Seneko on the Bounty Hunter. Lycan is going to be Ditya Ra, General on the Batrider, and then ArtStyle on the Witch Doctor. Zeus played mid, Bounty Hunter doing the typical Bounty Hunter thing, which is going invis and roaming around the enemy jungle and stealing experience, and killing, sniping couriers, and just being a general nuisance. And then later on giving a bunch of bonus gold. Lycan being the push master that he is, Witch Doctor being the defensive support that he is, and Batrider being an aggressive ganking type support. So this Navi lineup is put into against a team that has fantastic team fight with the Darkseer, with the Earth Spirit, the ability to push with the Nature's Prophet and the Chaos Knight, and they had, Polarity has great gank potential too. That both lineups here are pretty good. Zeus being picked to deal with, last pick to deal with the Chaos Knight illusion. Zeus just destroys illusions. It does a ridiculous amount of damage in general. Lycan being there to help push, Batrider being there to help hopefully get a couple of nice snipe ganks on Chaos Knight there. And Witch Doctor hopefully pulling it all together with a little bit of team fight, a little bit of stun, a little bit of disruption with the coconuts, so on and so forth. So we're going to go right into the game here. Okay, so where are we? All right, ArtStyle starting off here on the Witch Doctor. I think he bought some wards and he gave them to somebody else. But, oh no, it looks like that's the enemy Vengeful Spirit there. So ArtStyle has chosen to go for a Fairy Fire. Increases damage a little bit and a little bit of a heal if he needs one. Very last minute heal. Nice instant heal if he's going to be playing defensive in the lane. He's got Tangos. He's gave one away, probably to Dendi there. And he has a Clarity, which is going to be nice. So have him stay in lane and soak up that experience. He wants to get a level 6 on his Death Ward, which will be very nice. And just to pause here, to go through these particular heroes and what they offer. I love the messed up graphics when I pause the game. This is the Witch Doctor, guys. Look, he looks like a Witch Doctor, doesn't he? Anyway, Witch Doctor has 4 abilities. He's got a Paralyzing Cask. And if you've played this, you know how annoying this can be to play against. And if you played it, you know how enjoyable it is. You never get the random hits when you want them. But when you're playing against them, you always get screwed, of course. It's just a little coconut thing that bounces around the enemy. Goes up. You can see that the level 1 is only 2 bounces, and that goes up to 8 bounces. It actually doubles to 4 bounces at level 2, so it's a very good value point there. Level 3 is okay. You get the 2 additional bounces, but you get level 4, it's 8 bounces. That's pretty darn good. It does a little bit of damage, too. You can use this as a farming tool. It has a 5-second creep stun duration, which is another reason you can use it as a farming tool. Only a 1-second hero stun duration, but you get that thing bouncing around, say, between some Tree Ants and a Nature's Prophet, and all of a sudden Nature's Prophet can't do anything. You've got Voodoo Restoration, an instant channeled sort of heal. It's not really actually channeled. It's just kind of continuously cast, like a ward. Not bad. You get a point in this, maybe 2 points, and all of a sudden you're actually healing a decent amount, enough to save yourself from a gank, especially if it's a very close gank, a very close call in that gank. Pretty nice. And of course, scrub games, the ganks are either horribly executed or they're perfect. You end up dying so horribly that mana per this Voodoo Restoration is not very good. I'm sorry, I was reading the mana per second there, not the heal per second. The heal is 16 and 24, and it scales up, so you want to be scaling this as well. Potentially, very helpful early game, depending on what kind of build you're going. But also, if you want to go, that's if you want to go more defensive. If you want to go more aggressive, you can do the Maledict, which I think is a misunderstood ability. You cast the Maledict, and it does a little bit of damage on its own, but mostly what it does is it will do an amount of damage equal to the health that they have lost since Maledict began. So you cast your Maledict, then you cast your Coconuts, then you do damage to them, then you cast your Death Ward, and so you're basically going to be able to do a ridiculous amount of damage. It's actually based upon, it's not equal to, it's based upon some percentage of their health. So point is, you cast Maledict and then you want to do a bunch of damage to them, not the other way around. And of course, Death Ward. This is not magic damage. This is physical damage. It does pierce smell. It does pierce spell immunity. And if you cast this by sitting in the woods, you can put it up on high ground, you can do something like that, and you can just stay completely out of range of the enemy. And then do a ridiculous amount of damage, especially if you put that on an egg scepter, get an egg scepter, and all of a sudden you're doing just a ridiculous amount of damage. So very good team fight ability there. He is an int hero. He starts off with 0 armor. He's relatively slow, and he has, you know, kind of shitty damage. 56. I don't know if how that compares necessarily to other heroes, but that's your Witch Doctor. And he's just chilling up here at the moment. He starts off by going up on this high ground. He ended up taking out the assistance of Dendi there, taking out that Nature's Prophet tree ant. Presumably he wants to protect the high ground. You know, he's got a ward over here to be able to see what's going on, prevent the gank on Dendi, which is a very important thing because Zeus is very gankable. He has no escapes. Very difficult to avoid ganks as Zeus. So you have to have good vision. So ArtStyle starts off by creep blocking the mid, and this is because Dendi needed to get the rune, so he's doing his dutiful role as support. He went ahead and helped Dendi there, and he's going to head into lane. He is a defensive type support. He can farm maybe a little bit later on, and he's turning around immediately as soon as he sees the gank attempt on Dendi. He's running through, Seneko even coming in on the bounty hunter. Dendi's going to get killed here. Probably did not anticipate that boulder roll so quickly. He actually gets the coconut off, and he's actually doing a decent amount of damage because the Nature's Prophet overstayed his welcome. He's going to get a return kill on that. He's potentially going to get a kill on, I guess, that Summer Soul, and he does. So there you go, the power of a Fairy Fire, a little bit of bonus damage, the power of 1 Paralyzing Cask, and, quite honestly, Polarity's poor judgment in thinking that they could sit around and just take that kind of damage. It's clear that they have not played against a Witch Doctor early on, and that Paralyzing Cast doing a lot of damage. Also, I believe there was a Howl, probably, from Ditcha. Howl doing bonus damage to an area. Yeah, see, this is on cooldown. Hero bonus damage, 14 bonus damage per attack. So they maybe didn't realize that actually Ditcha was participating in that team fight even though he was sitting in the safe lane because his bonus damage was on ArtStyle and was on Seneko as Bounty Hunter. So, you know, that was a mistake there by Polarity. They overestimated how much they could survive there. So here's what ArtStyle's doing. He goes down in the lane. And you see other support heroes, they don't actually sit in the lane. He's sitting in the lane, and he is just attacking the hero. This is his entire job. And he's actually not getting really punished for it either. Boulder roll right into the rune. It's going to catch ArtStyle out here. He does have the Voodoo Restoration from the quick level 2. It's one of the benefits of staying in the lane. He's being chased. The Earth Spirit here does have I think that's obviously going to be a level 1 Ion Shell. Not enough damage to kill ArtStyle. One of the benefits of being able to get the rune at level 2 as opposed to level 1. Mental note. So he's going to go ahead and just keep the pressure up here on Summer Soul. Try to ward off the gank attempts. Ward off the gank attempts. Sorry, that was a really lame Witch Doctor drip there. So he's now out of the lane. He is probably going to do some kind of pulling here. Ditcha already having the creeps under the tower. This is, you know, I thought you weren't supposed to do this, but I'm a scrub. So what he's doing is actually pulling the creep wave under the tower. And maybe that's because there are 2 enemies in lane. He wants to deprive them of experience. Not really sure. But, you know, I'll probably do it and figure out later on what good it does. Maybe just getting himself some levels.
Tower is under attack.
So he ends up picking up a Majestic and Boots off of the gains from his kills there at mid, and from sitting in lane, and from getting some of that farm there. He is pulling at 325-27 into this creep wave. He's pulling that neutral camp to the left. I've seen this done before. It is an attempt to keep the creep wave from going further north. He did use up all his tangos, presumably when he was being attacked earlier. Continuing the pressure on the Darkseer. It's a relentless push. And now he gets hit by the Boulder Smash. He's going to counter with the Paralyzing Cast, the Voodoo Restoration. He ends up getting a kill with the help of Ditcha. Question, is he going to be able to turn this on DK Phobos? get the kill. You get the two wolves there hitting DK Phobos. He almost gets the kill. If the Howl was up, I bet you he would have gotten that kill. Questions as you go back to lane now. He's not gonna have the opportunity to go back to lane because he's gonna be ganked by Nature's Prophet, who apparently TP'd into the woods as he was coming in. You could tell he did not realize that was happening. He was clearly focused. So he needs Witch Doctor being a relatively slow hero. Got boots first. Magic Stick's going to be helpful to help a little bit of survivability, especially considering that there's, he was pretty low there. He got himself a ward and a circlet. A little bit of stats here help him build up some strength. He only has 579 health. You saw that he checked the Chaos Knight. Chaos Knight already has like 900 health, 800 health. So that's the real risk of a Witch Doctor here. And of course, Chaos Knight goes in on Reality Rifts on General. General is under major attack. And then Witch Doctor goes paralyzing Cask right into the flame on the ground. That's able to get the enemies to soak up a decent amount of that flame damage. Question is, can he get a kill? He actually gets a kill. A return kill, keeping that Voodoo Restoration up. Paralyzing Cask was able to get a decent amount of damage to start with. Another paralyzing Cask to stun the Vengeful Spirit there. And the Circlet maybe made a difference there. There's a chance, that 2 additional stats, 2 additional attributes, a little bit of extra damage, a little bit of extra mana regen for a little bit of extra health regen. And he ends up getting the Arcane Boots off of that. And he's at 5 minutes and 38 seconds. He's got Arcane Boots. That is very, very good for a Witch Doctor. Thought about returning up there to go help his friend out, General. But in that case, General died. Now, the game sense from ArtStyle there, he had TP'd up top. And I don't know if that's because General knew that was going to happen, or General called it out, if ArtStyle just predicted that Chaos, the creeps were pretty close to that tower, that Chaos Knight would get a gank. Maybe he saw the rotation. I actually don't know. All I know is that it was a very fortuitous timing on his part. He's going back up there. Maybe he's okay.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
He's probably going to try to pull the creep wave off the tower. Maybe just helping General out. Maybe that was the plan all along. Get Seneca. You got 3 up here. He's going to do a Paralyzing Cask. He doesn't even have the Voodoo Restoration. He's got 3 points into Paralyzing Cask. Enemy clearly not able to deal with this and underestimate the potential of that. General with Flame, plus Seneco's damage, plus Dendi up there. That was 4-man gank. I don't think Polarity saw that coming.
Dire's top tower is under
So
attack.
he left the bottom lane, and I think the reason he did this is because he's not really afraid of Ditchira getting farmed. The creep wave is under the tower. I guess there's not much you can do when the creep was in the tower except for maybe pull it back further or whatever. I don't really know. Ditchira is actually having trouble now because there's 2 enemies down there. He's probably going to go and have to farm in the woods while ArtStyle's up here. And I guess maybe they're making the calculation that really shutting down this Chaos Knight is more important. General with the 3 stacks of sticky napalm, and you got the flame. You're going to potentially kill the... Oh my gosh. ArtStyle gets a fast level 6, pops the Death Ward. You combine that with the sticky napalm stacks and the Firefly from General, and you've got enough damage to kill the Chaos Knight this early in the game. He doesn't have defensive skills. He doesn't have his ultimate. It's not really... Chaos Knight ultimate isn't really a defensive skill. It's just a bunch of illusions. Chaos Strike is an additional damage skill. Reality Rift is a very aggressive gap closing skill. And Chaos Bolt is about the most defensive skill it's got, but it's just a stun. So, that's not going to be enough, potentially, to deal with a very fast level 6 support on ArtStyle Witch Doctor with heal and a very high level Paralyzing Cask and Death Ward already. And General. 3 stacks and Firefly doing a decent amount of damage per second. Plus, you've got the sticky napalm adding a percentage of extra damage for each additional hit on top of that. So bonus damage on top of bonus damage here. And if you add a Howl, which I bet you was cast during that team fight, you've got a lot of additional damage per hit. And a Witch Doctor that only does 72 damage per hit is actually going to be doing a lot more than that. So he's playing defensive here. He's helping General out. He's trying to stay out of vision. I think he wants to try to get maybe the Chaos Knight to Reality Rift General. Trying to surprise the enemy here. So he's sitting back in the woods as he's checking out the enemy team. I mean, he is playing the captain's role here. I'm not sure where he put the ward before. I think he actually warded in this area, if you can look at the mini-map. Maybe that was de-warded. I'm not really sure. Because I don't see any wards on the map. Yeah. He does have a sentry ward, presumably to help counter any sentry wards that were placed by Polarity to be able to see Seneko. You know, that makes this lane so much more dangerous if the enemy doesn't know where Seneko is. That's the word right there. I wasn't showing up on my map there. So they're going to potentially go in this gank again. You got a track, level 6 track. You've got Death Ward. You've got... Sheesh. Except there's enough TPs in by Polarity to be able to turn this. Magnetize turned on from the Earth Spirit. A nice kick of a rock. Get the stun. Luckily, General's going to be able to get out of here with his Firefly flying over the gap there. So that would have been potentially a nice gank there by NAVI, but I guess Polarity is starting to realize what's going on. NAVI having 2 to 3 heroes there the entire time, nobody in DJ Ra's lane, and that was a mistake by General. Nobody in DJ Ra's lane, so, you know, wait till NAVI goes on to one of the heroes, casts a Death Ward, and you know they're committed, and go ahead and get in there. Now, ArtStyle TP's into this tower. He's going to get absolutely creamed. Actually, he gets the Death Ward off, or the Coconut off. He gets the Voodoo Restoration off as well. Dendi comes in, produces a ridiculous amount of damage, and they're probably going to kill him at this point. But that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is why he has done so well in this game, why I wanted to watch this game. So he TPs to this tier 2 tower. He presumably just wants to, I don't know, challenge their push. I'm not sure what he's thinking here. He has one magic wand. He actually ended up getting his magic wand, upgrading his magic stick to a magic wand. He still has a sentry ward. He's got his arcane boots available. His death ward is on cooldown, so again, I'm not sure what he's doing up here. But watch what he does. So he sees Summer Soul sitting here, Earth Spirit right in his way. By the way, he gets 160 gold because DJ Ra is pushing that bottom tower, all while the enemy's pushing this tower. He's got Pasha there on the Chaos Knight. He might be trying to run away at this point. Yep, trying to run away. He actually avoids the kick there from the Earth Spirit. Reality Rift closes the gap on ArtStyle, pulls ArtStyle into Chaos Knight. And let's watch the speed here that he does this. I'm at 0.25. He's got Voodoo Restoration going. He casts the Paralyzing Cask. The guys are so close together, this is just going to keep bouncing between them. You got the Shuriken Toss from Seneko, doing additional damage to Pasha. ArtStyle finally loses the stun from the Chaos Knight. Dendi comes in, pops a couple of damage spells, does a ridiculous amount of damage to the Chaos Knight. All of a sudden, Somersault has to go on Dendi, try to get a kill on Dendi. But meanwhile, the Chaos Knight is dead. They're all really low. ArtStyle is probably going to be able to put a hurting on Summer Soul here. Yep, adds a little bit of extra damage. He still doesn't have the Maledict, by the way. And now they just turn this fight. And he's running away. There's probably going to be another gap closer here. I'm guessing that's the Vengeful Spirit swap. It's just to use a swap just to get the ArtStyle. Probably going to stun ArtStyle. There's the stun and for the kill. Seneko sitting in here the whole time, getting track gold, kills, tracks the Vengeful Spirit, gets a kill with the Shuriken Toss, and if these guys were still in the area, you'd probably track up Nature's Prophet and get a kill with the Shuriken Toss on Nature's Prophet. So these guys need to get the heck out of here once this fight ends like this. So yeah, Seneko returning, try to get that kill. And he's going to return to his duties. Meanwhile, Dichara is scanning, or is pushing that tower, pushing the tier 2 already. So, kind of put a hurting on Polarity there. The levels of NAVI, levels in the support of NAVI have turned out to be really powerful in this game. Able to use supports to do a lot of the work, do a lot of the heavy lifting, while Dichara is able to push towers, get tower gold for his team and for himself, presumably on the last hits that he hopefully is getting. Seneko sniping a courier there while following an enemy. So, ArtStyle checking out his team. Looks like he's going to go mid. He picks up a Observer Ward and a Smoke. He's got TP on deck as well. playing defensively. You might head down here. He actually TPs defensively into the bot lane. Hopefully it helped Ditchara. Cast the Paralyzing Cast. Gets the Death Ward up. Death Ward, while the Paralyzing Cast is bouncing between the enemies, he is going to actually get this kill potentially. It looks like he actually doesn't. He gets the Earth Spirit somewhere. Meanwhile, Ditchara is able to get out, which is really all that he needed to do. He saved Ditchara there. Interesting TP in by General.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
There's so many summons here. So that, just kind of reviewing there, ArtStyle is able to come in, TP in while Ditchara on the Lycan was being attacked. He's able to do a Paralyzing Cask, a Voodoo Restoration, so he's healing Ditchara and himself while the enemy's being stunned, and then he Death Wards during that stun duration of the Paralyzing Cast. These enemies' Polarity keeps getting close together to try to get these ganks, and I guess that makes sense. You've got 3 melee heroes here. You've got Chaos Knight, you've got the Darkseer, you've got the Earth Spirit, and so these people are all, these heroes are all close to each other. They're all getting close to NAVI, and they're closing gaps, and NAVI is going to take advantage of this. So, you're looking at when to pick up a Witch Doctor. Pick them up when you've got a bunch of aggressive enemies, melee enemies that are going to potentially go in on you. Paralyzing Cast can do a ridiculous amount of damage. Voodoo Restoration is going to put a hurting on them. It's pretty much anybody. But also you got the Death Ward that's going to be able to, during the duration of the Paralyzing Cast, really hurt these melee heroes. And of course, that's until he actually uses his Sentry Ward to de-ward a ward there mid, thus helping Seneko to continue doing Seneko things like tracking the enemy across this mid lane. So he's probably getting ready to push this mid lane. That's probably what's going on. In fact, that's exactly what's going on. General gets a ultimate on, I forget who that was. There's a swap out. ArtStyle is in a bad way to go. Magnetize on him. He gets the Voodoo Restoration up. He's going to cast the Death Ward from low ground up to high ground. Paralyzing Cast was doing something. Potentially helped get a kill there. Meanwhile, the Sheriff can toss General. ArtStyle just sitting back, healing his teammates there. He's got a level 3 healing ward. No points in Maledict. None. And he goes for the Aether Lens here. Good option. Paralyzing lets you cast the Paralyzing Cask from very far away. You only have 788 health, so this is also kind of an escape mechanism for him. It's the ability to participate in team fights from afar. I don't think that affects Voodoo Restoration. I could be wrong. The Death Ward, he can cast the Death Ward from really far away, potentially, and do damage without the enemy even knowing potentially where he is. And I think that's the best way to cast your Death Wards. So, sitting in here farming, and this is the point where he can farm. He's got 4 points in the Paralyzing Cask. It's 5-second stun on creeps. It's going to do 150 damage. And I think that's 150 damage overall, not per stun. I think that might be too much. I'm not really sure. I'd have to try that out. It's got a 14-second cooldown, so we can cast this pretty much whenever he wants. He's going to keep pressure off the towers, pulling them out a little bit. He's actually going to care when he casts, when he attacks these heroes. You see a lot of these heroes, a lot of these fellow scrubs in matches just kind of right-clicking and not caring about getting the farm. But I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, every little advantage you can get is good. And guess what he's going for next? Ags. Ags increasing significantly the amount of damage done by Death Ward. Because I believe it increases potentially the damage and the number of scepter bounces. So each time that little Death Ward casts something, it bounces and does damage. In this particular case, it's going to bounce even more, I think, under the Ags. So he's not able to participate in these team fights because he's pushing mid, or at least he's farming mid. I don't know exactly. So he's got his Aether Lens. I'm surprised he's not up there with his teammates. Maybe he's worried about this right here. So let's see how he plays this. The first thing he does, he doesn't realize there's a ward here. He knew something was going on. He saw some activity over here. He needed to get vision. He wasn't about to go walking in there because they could easily close the gap and kill him. He needed Dendi. Dendi uses his lightning bolt to get vision of the area. Now that ArtStyle actually uses his God's Wrath to get vision. And he's casting his Lightning Bolt right now. So now ArtStyle has vision. He's going to go through his stuff. He's casting the Paralyzing Cast. He can cast it from this far out because of the Aether Lens, which is very nice. The question is, who's he casting it on? And he cast it on a guy who just disappeared. Just TP'd out. So the TP actually, because there's a delay from the time that you cast the Paralyzing Cast to the time that the cast actually hits the enemy, that cast just flew way up there to try to hit the enemy in the base. So, but he did go ahead and cast the Death Ward. He had just barely enough mana for that. And by the way, he did convert his boots, his mana boots, into the Aether Lens. He did not buy an additional mana booster in order to get the Aether Lens. He wanted to get the Aether Lens first, and that makes a lot of sense. Potentially costing the ability to cast his Death Ward, but in this particular case, he had enough, so he was managing his mana very well. He does have the Howl. I don't know if that affects the Death Ward, but nevertheless, he's able to cast the Death Ward from way over here. Good luck getting to him. Pasha's going to have to get a little closer before that. He can close the gap and stun ArtStyle or interrupt this ultimate. Meanwhile, it looks like Vengeful Spirit is going to die. DK Phobos, where he's not TPing away, potentially is going to die. We'll see what happens. Death Ward gets the kill, and instead of interrupting the ultimate, Pasha goes ahead and ults himself, potentially to get that counter kill. He does kill Dendi. He tries to get the Reality Rift. I don't know if he's faking that. ArtStyle is styling here on Pasha. Does get off the cast yet again, and it's very powerful when you're dealing with illusions. Although, yeah, now you got the gap closed with Pasha again. Going to get a kill with the Nature's Wrath from the Nature's Wrath, Nature's Prophet. Though Nature's Prophet TP'd in, he's probably going to get killed here as punishment. Although he's good. He's good. He's using his Treants to block the path. One of the nice things about being Nature's Prophet. Get in, get out. So ArtStyle probably going to pick up a point booster here once the Courier is done going to General, the Bat Rider. The other reason I think maybe he went ahead and decided not to have the mana boots is because Dendi has mana boots. And Bounty Hunter. So there's 2 mana boots already. He didn't really need them. He might end up getting... He might just stay with the Boots of Speed for a while. He has other things he can get, like Ags, more important. He's going to go over here, just grab the point booster right from the little shop. Going to pick up some wards here. He still has the smoke, so we'll see if he's... Looks like maybe they're getting together here for the smoke. He goes ahead and pings behind the tower. I guess he's getting ready to smoke up. Yep, here's the call. He's got the smoke ready to go. There it is. What does he do? He sees the enemy over there under the ward that he placed at the tier 2. The creeps are actually already over there. This is actually going to be a push attempt. This is a really smart move by NAVI. They're going to hopefully get a gank and then kill the tower. There's a track right on the Vengeful Spirit, although the TPs are coming in. Chaos Knight Reality Rifts onto... Oh my gosh, this is a big team fight. Darkseer able to get a nice ultimate off. ArtStyle able to get a nice ultimate off as well. The Magnetize is on. There's a lot of stuff happening. I'm going to have to go back and just watch that again. So Polarity potentially baiting this out. You don't see them on the map anywhere. They are playing rather aggressively. Chaos Knight down the lane. Vengeful Spirit in the woods, maybe keeping track of, being the first to die is important. Vengeful Spirit's ultimate is really helpful. So there it is, pops the smoke. They can immediately see what's going on. ArtStyle is in the thick of it here. He's actually sitting in the back line. He does need to stay back. Nature's Wrath comes in and does damage to him. He sees the enemies over there taking the big damage. He sees Dichira taking damage. He casts the Paralyzing Cast with the Restoration on Death Ward immediately. This is all you can really do. But notice his positioning. His positioning is in the woods, but far enough that he can potentially get some damage on the people who are on the far right side. He actually pops the Aegis on the Chaos Knight, gets swapped in by the Vengeful Spirit, but now his ultimate is down. He's got his first point as Maledict, by the way. Okay, he's going to die. he's not going to be able to escape very well. Force Staff might be a good idea for him. We'll see what he ends up getting. He's going to get the Ags first, since that's going to be his major contribution to these fights. So that not a terrible team fight for him. He gets off everything he needs to get off, save for maybe the Maledict, which is a really low level. He'd rather have, I think, that Death Ward doing damage as quickly as possible. And, you know, one less second of that Death Ward, and he probably would have died to the Chaos Knight before the Aegis was up. So, ArtStyle, checking out his teammates, seeing what they have, checking out the enemy team, seeing what they've got. And if I'm not mistaken there, that was actually, I think Dendi actually was moving his, if I remember the replay, I remember the commentators pointing out that I think Dendi actually lost his damage amp, I think if that's called. Veil. And I think he actually dropped it on the ground, and the enemy took it. Which, the commentators, at least Swindles was one of them, which is the captain from Complexity, and he just was like, you know, you can't do that. So I think Dendi's actually behind at this point, because he just lost an item. So ArtStyle is sitting here in the woods. He's actually helping to get some farm. He clearly wants to get that Ags as quickly as possible. He's even given himself, as captain, given himself a priority. Looks like the enemy team was spotted in the woods, and it looks like they kind of pulled NAVI in. But ladies and gentlemen, there is your Darkseer Blink Ultimate Vacuum on top of an Ion Shell, on top of a Chaos Knight doing a crit. You see the crit there, doing his damage with his illusions. So the question is what is ArtStyle doing? He, of course, casts his Paralyzing Cast first, gets stuns on people. He's got the Voodoo Restoration up. I don't think he's going to cast much. He's probably going to go straight for the Death Ward. Yep, there's the Death Ward. He just ignores the Maledict. And I'm not sure he's going to be able to even turn this fight even for his team. There's a TP in behind enemy lines by Nature's Prophet. Going to do a lot of damage here to him, plus the Magnetize, and he's going to be wiped up. And that's an actually very big team loss. Team fight loss for NAVI. General not even participating. So they got lured into the bait trap there. They got baited. The enemy team, you know, you can't, if you can't kill the Chaos Knight really quickly, you might want to be careful, because the mobility on this team, with Summer Soul being able to roll in, with Nature's Prophet being able to TP in, plus the fact that you already had a Chaos Knight there, and you never know where DK Phobos is lurking on that Darkseer with that Blink Dagger. You'll be able to close the gap pretty quickly. So that's two big team losses in a row. Dendi losing an item, which I didn't really see or cover here, but I'm sure he loses that Veil of Discord. And then, you know, they just lost. They just got wiped. Well, almost wiped. 4 people in a team fight there. So score is now reversed. You look at the stats here, and big net worth change from NAVI to Polarity. Big difference. XP, big drops. So that's a big difference. They were doing so well. He doesn't have a smoke. He's still trying to get the staff, or this the next few items for his Ag Scepter. He wants to be able to get farm priority here, but he also needs to be able to push down towers. Chaos Knight is always getting stronger. You got to get some farm on Dendi, because Dendi lost his Veil of Discord, which is bad. Seneko hopefully going to get nice track kills. So, you know, they do want to fight this as a team, and they do want to be able to push down towers if possible. But that Chaos Knight, Darkseer, Earthshaker combo is just so powerful for team fight that, you know, the Death Ward is only going to target 1 or 2 things, and the Death Ward is going to have a problem because it's all going to target. I think it's also going to target the minions. He actually is probably microing the Death Ward here. You can micro the Death Ward. You can actually click on individual heroes to target, so you can avoid hitting these stupid treants and all this other crap that the enemy's putting out there. The illusions from the Chaos Knight included. So they're pushing up mid a little bit. Looks like they got a little scared. Polarity was lurking in the shadows. So he goes ahead and TP. ArtStyle goes and TP's bottom. He's going to get some farm, hopefully bottom. Notice he does not push to high ground. His entire team, well, he sees the entire enemy team up there mid, so he's going to go up mid. He might have just kept pushing, getting some more gold. But he wants to protect this tower, Navi being in a position for General to get an ultimate off. I'm not sure how General lost the Venge, because the Venge is typically the good swap target, because otherwise the Venge just swaps whoever General ults, the Batrider ults. So I'm not really sure what happened there. I know Dendi ended up casting, I don't know if Dendi cast his ult, or God's Wrath. Yeah, he cast his ult there. I think that has a mini stun. Okay, so there's a gank attempt here on Navi. Look how far away he's casting Death Ward. He gets a Maledict, or he gets a Maledict off there at some point. I'm gonna go back through and see what he does. So, where's, I'm trying to follow him, make sure he knows see where he's looking. So they're all pulling back here. Sineko doesn't have any tracks on anybody, so nobody knows what's going on right now. Dendi just used his Thunder God's Wrath, so the enemy knows that there's no vision on them. So at this point, the enemy might feel confident enough to attack. So ArtStyle pulling back from this high area here, this high ground here, all of a sudden sees the Nature's Prophet. Dendi gets a spell off there. ArtStyle immediately casts the cask onto those two heroes, which are getting close to each other. He gets the Maledict off in that area. Then he's going to go ahead and cast the Death Ward, which you can see. I think he's microing. Can't really tell. Actually, he's not microing. He's just standing there. Somersault gets the roll in. Pasha on the Chaos Knight comes in, finally losing the stun from the cask. And going to clean up ArtStyle there in the back line, but not before. His team is going to be able to turn this, even with the Magnetize from the Earth Spirit there. They're going to be able to get a kill on Pasha. That's big, 368 gold there. That's after Pasha got a kill on ArtStyle. They're potentially going to get a kill. They got a track kill here on Somersault, although Sineko's probably going to die from the Magnetize. He's going to do as much damage as he can before he dies. They are going to get a kill on the Earth Spirit. That's four kills there. Potentially quite a bit of gold. That's a great team fight for them. I'm curious to see what the team fight recap says. Okay, so there you go. They get an extra 5,000 experience. Look at the gold, and that's from track gold right there. That's extra 3,100 gold. I wonder who got the benefit of that. Lycan probably, decent amount of gold in his bank. Looks like Dendi finally gets his Veil of Discord. Probably just use some of his gold for that. So ArtStyle responds. He is managing his team from the background. He's got one more item here. He's got picked up his Ogre Club for a little extra strength. He's going to go ahead and farm this camp's down here. This is the safest camp he can farm. His additional strength here is going to be helpful. He needs that additional health. He's actually going to give this over to Sineko. And I'm curious as to why he's doing that. It's because Sineko is finishing the... I'm not sure what he's finishing there. He's finishing something. You can see the courier is going to take that out. Okay, he finished the Piper's Insight. Good item. Counters some of the Darkseer stuff there. Counters the Magnetize quite nicely. So the Ion Shell and the Magnetize damage going to be negated by a...
Oh, look at it go.
It's 400. Yep, 400. And plus additional magic resistance. That's nice. So ArtStyle probably going to take over the farm priority now. He's not buying wards. He hasn't bought wards in a while. Although Dendi is always going to have a higher priority, I guess, than him. Though he's going to get a little bit here. They might go for the Roshan. There's a smoke. They see the enemy team. This is going to be like a replay. I guess in this particular circumstance, they're not going to go for the gank, push the tower, or the Roshan after the tower push. They're going to go straight for the Roshan. Maybe they don't feel confident enough to be able to take a really nice team fight. Maybe they feel bruised from the last beating they got trying to take that tower. They are still smoked up. You noticed ArtStyle's positioning is way out. He needs to stay out of the area. He's going to go ahead and get in this pit just to be able to get the experience. That's nice. He wants to get that level 3 Death Ward as quickly as possible. But he was staying out of the pit. He was trying to avoid the area. He doesn't want to be caught. He has Aether Lens for a reason. He wants to be able to get that Paralyzing Cast off. He wants to be able to get that Death Ward off, the Maledict off. TP in by Nature's Prophet as the enemies are coming in here. Denny's just going to go ahead and TP out. There's nothing Nature's Prophet can do about that. Nature's Prophet is going to be able to put him hurting here on ArtStyle. And with the Reality Rift, Chaos Knight's going to close the gap and get a quick kill. I believe, no, he did not. Chaos Knight did an ult. So that was actually, looks like Polarity had been getting ready to counter the Roshan, but just barely missed, and instead chose to gank NAVI retreating there in the woods. So Nico not getting any tracks off on that. So Nico farming pretty heavily. I'm curious to know why. Maybe just experience, get that level 3 track. I don't know what his next item's going to be. Be some kind of anti-armor item. He's kind of doing the aura thing. He's got a smoke. Okay, so he's farming for smoke, potentially. ArtStyle sitting in mid lane around his teammates. He does need to generally be around his teammates unless he knows that it's safe. And it's not safe. His jungle is completely black to him. He has no idea. There's fog of war everywhere. I think he did see the enemy up top there, so he knows there's a few enemies up top, so he noticed where his positioning is here. He's to the southeast. His enemies are to the west. He's to the southeast. They're going to push this tower as carefully as possible. They think they might be able to do this. He doesn't yet have his Ags. They actually do push the tower down very quickly. Maybe they're going to go for a tier 3. General up there up north looking for the gank attempt. The enemy has apparently retreated completely back to the base. ArtStyle a little too forward there, I think, but nevertheless, pushing forward as much as possible. Try to get to the creep wave to that tier 3 tower. Somehow his courier died.
Radiant's top tower is under
So,
attack.
he knows the enemy's not to the left, so he's staying to the left a little bit. He's going to push the tower from as far back as possible. Now he's going to get in the woods, potentially surprise the enemy. He needs to be able to get that cask off and that death ward off, and if the enemy goes on his teammates, if he's hitting in the woods, he's hidden, and nobody can stop him. They don't know where the death ward's coming from. This is a perfect place for him to be in the woods, up on the high ground. It'd be terrible for the enemy to try to gank or counter the team in that little pit area there, that low ground, because of the way that death ward, I mean, nobody's going to be able to stop ArtStyle's death ward. They're going to back it off. Looks like he's going to be able to get his Blade of Alacrity to complete his Ags. This is a very powerful timing for them because they're going to get the Ags. They've got the pipe. They've got the mechanism. They've got boots. They've got all kinds of stand-ups. A Veil of Discord, a Blink Dagger, Aether Lens on the Zeus. They've got, perhaps most importantly, the Aegis on the Lycan. And a level 3 Necronomicon. Black King Bar at level 10 duration there. So this is the time they're going to push. Before this Aegis expires, watch how they're going to do this. So ArtStyle back to base. He gets his Ags. He doesn't want to use the courier. Well, he can't use the courier. It's a good thing you didn't have him on the courier. His courier is dead. So that would have been potentially a delayed Ags on his part, potentially long enough to threaten the Aegis. So I guess it's a pretty good thing he didn't worry about. He didn't have that on the courier. So right now, the lanes are being pushed pretty significantly by Polarity. They need to keep these lanes pushed out because if the lanes are close enough to the tower, then this Aegis push is going to be real. The timing of NAVI is going to be very, very strong. They're at a peak in their power. They are staying as 5-man. They want to stay grouped up. At this point, this is going to be major team fights. But hopefully a gank by General can get the team fight started. Although you do have the swap by the bench, so really General needs to get a gank on the bench. General going in. Dendy starting off with the Thunder God's Wrath to get vision on the enemy heroes. So got some tracks going in. ArtStyle seeing what's going on north. He sees the enemy in the woods. There is the swap onto Earth Spirit, actually. I think the Venge was pushed out. Venge has actually been killed, so this is going to be a guaranteed kill. They actually focus the Venge down and then get the swap on another hero, preventing the swap. I'm sorry, getting the the Flaming Lasso on somebody other than Venge because the swap was down with Venge because Venge was dead. So ArtStyle's positioning here during sieging the high ground is he's on the low ground, and that's fine. He can cast both his Paralyzing Cask and his Maledict and his Voodoo Restoration and his Death Ward. He wants to stay out of harm's way as much as possible, although he's... I would not have been up there if I were him, but I guess he doesn't want to miss the tower hits. He wants to kill this tower. Goes ahead. We're going to slow this down because my cast is not that good yet, and I cannot cast all of this stuff happening at once. So first he stays low ground. There's a Reality Rift on a creep. That was a little weird. Okay, General is looking for another snipe potentially, although I think his ult is still down. Okay, so there is the Darkseer blink in, all the creeps, plus the Ion Shells, plus the ultimate. ArtStyle is stuck. He's got the Voodoo Restoration on kind of permanently here, it looks like, just to get as much heals as he can. He gets to a point where he thinks he's safe. He turns around, walks back through the wall, goes ahead, casts his Paralyzing Cast, and he immediately gets into the Death Ward, try to get a kill. Maximize the damage. This is his major damage. This is his major contribution here. And if you can see the Chaos Knight's doing his absolute best to get to ArtStyle, stun ArtStyle, do something to ArtStyle to interrupt this ultimate. Because otherwise, this ultimate is going to be doing a ridiculous amount of damage. And just look at it. It's eating away in Pasha and Foniji. I don't know his name. They weren't able to stop ArtStyle. He's going to get a full duration Death Ward potentially out here. There it is. He still survives, even though the little minions here are attacking him. Sorry, the creep wave is attacking him. That's the advantage. I think you learn. Oh, he actually gets a gem here. I'm not sure who died. The Chaos Knight potentially had the gem, forcing the Chaos Knight to buy back. He's still sitting here hitting towers. He's low in health. He's low on mana. He's going to go ahead and TP out. Oh, he almost got Reality Rifted. I'm surprised he didn't just run away. But he wanted. I guess he just decided it was better to TP out immediately. You know, that's something I think that you know I'm learning here is. Oh, that's just rude, Seneko. I'm learning is that he is casting Voodoo Restoration well before he's in real danger. He's doing it not only to sustain the push, and I think, you know, not only to protect himself if he were to get ganked or attacked or stunned or whatever, but also to sustain the push in general. And that's actually something I would think about doing. I just cast that when I feel like I need it, but that's probably not the best time to do it. So, always starting off with the Paralyzing Cask, always having the Voodoo Restoration on, and then getting the Death Ward off as soon as possible, so that he can maximize the total amount of damage he does. Keeping in mind that the earlier he casts his Death Ward, the more damage, not only the more damage it does to all the teammates, but it's going to potentially help turn the fight. He doesn't want to wait till the very end. He wants to get it off as soon as possible. He's going to die, you know. As soon as they get a chance to get to him, he's potentially screwed. A Reality Rift and then a stun, something like that is going to stop him from being able to cast a Silence from the Earth Spirit. So, he's actually got some farm priority here. He's going to pick up BKB. Now, you know, I would kind of wonder what the heck would I go for next on a Witch Doctor. I'd probably just sit around and buy wards. He is prioritizing this hero as being a hero that participates in battles. And they need to get this damage off, and you see the gank coming in here on ArtStyle. Or on General. General's going to get a gank here on the Chaos Knight. And there's a track up on Chaos Knight. It's a ridiculous amount of damage. Chaos Knight gets a BKB up, gets his ult off. ArtStyle finds his path through the woods. Doesn't even bother to cast a Paralyzing Cast because he's in a wonderful position. Gets the Death Ward off. Is able to do a ridiculous amount of damage on the enemy team. You got the Cask now, which is able to hopefully help clean this up. And he keeps stunning Pasha. That's going to be a Shuriken toss plus a Maledict kill. And even all the while, just watch this again. He was doing damage and helping contribute in the rest of the team fight. So he is not getting that cask. He is actually, he wants to get on this high ground. You can see where he is over here. He actually casts the Death Ward, I'm sorry, on the hill, overseeing, and how is anyone going to get to him? There is no way. And look at the damage. Look at it go! Look at the damage go. There is finally a swap up. They find him. He swapped into the middle. Then he casts his cask. Probably not the best idea, because that means the Vengeful Spirit basically just secured the death of not only the Vengeful Spirit, but on the Darkseer. So ArtStyle sitting here in range. He gets Reality Rifted. Pasha doing a ridiculous amount of damage. Oh, man. I don't know how he survived that last hit there. Pasha did a ridiculously low amount of damage. And meanwhile, ArtStyle still healing from this Voodoo Restoration. Maybe he popped the magic wand during that time when he got low. But he outturned that fight. And he participated in killing the DK, or the CK. I'm not sure why the CK stood around as long as he did, but they're going to turn this into a hardcore push. 4 enemies down on Polarity. That was actually 5. I think that was a 5-team wipe. The Vengeful Spirit might have gotten away. Very low health if she did. And here's that death push. This isn't quite at the BKB. I was talking about this earlier. But, you know, how do you make sure you get off your ult full duration? Well, there's nothing that goes through the BKB. I believe, actually, Wall of Replica, no. Even the vacuum does not go through BKB. So, once he gets a BKB, nothing will be able to stop him from the full duration of ultimate and casting his paralyzing cast, which is his contribution.
Dire's bottom barracks has fallen.
Not saving for buyback. Doesn't really need to. He's got two tier 2 towers up. The enemy's team's bottom racks were just taken. He doesn't want to finish this farm though, so he goes ahead and gets the TP mount down to tier 2 mid. Gets the paralyzing cask off. Finishes up these last hits. Gonna go in the jungle probably, although he's actually gonna go support his teammates in the Roshan pit. While the enemy's waves are pushed in, they're not going to be able to respond to this quickly enough. He's going to have a nice distance. You've got Sineko General actually front lines, going to be able to watch the enemy walk in there. General realizing the enemy is coming in. ArtStyle in there to get a little bit of experience. Hopefully level 3 Death Ward, not quite level 3 Death Ward. By the way, this is all the damage from the level 2 Death Ward, not even level 3 Death Ward. He's staying back. He doesn't quite know where the enemy is here. I guess Thunder God Wrath to help see what was going on. End up getting killed in the Vengeful Spirit. It's going to force the enemy team back. Also, Navi's lost the general there, so they don't want to initiate either. They want to back off as well. Needs 1,300 gold. He missed that last hit. Needs 1,300 gold. He stole somebody's plate mail. Is that what happened there? Where did he get the plate mail? Oh, his teammate dropped the plate mail. Okay, Dendi dropped the plate mail. I guess he's going for Shiva's guard. And picked it up so he wouldn't lose it. A lesson learned by Dendi there, considering that earlier in the game, Dendi dropped an item and lost it because the enemy team deleted it while it was laying on the ground. It's actually kind of funny. So ArtStyle playing his role of support here, but he's going to need to get that on the courier and get that off to the, so he can get his Mithril Hammer, increase a little bit of damage he can do. Not a lot of damage, but, you know, he's going to benefit from, at least he's going to benefit from the Mithril Hammer. He's not going to benefit from the plate mail, since it's his allies, not his.
Bountiful.
So, checking scores. Seeing who's done what so far, and we'll just look there with him. Dichara using up his Aegis there, hopefully going to be able to escape like an ultimate out. He's got a BKB and TP, that's all he needs to do. He might actually die. Wow, he needs to be a little more respectful of the enemy's damage there. Didn't want to use his ultimate, I guess. Took the risk, now he realizes how powerful the team is. His team doesn't have any wards. they only have one ward here. They have no aggressive wards. They need to get some aggressive wards there. I think maybe they gave over the gem. I'm not sure who has the gem here. Probably Bounty Hunter? No. Zeus doesn't need the gem. Lycan is fat. Even got a cheese on him. That Rider doesn't have the gem. And so somehow the gem got over to the Earth Spirit there, stole it. So that's why there's no aggressive wards. Even if there were some aggressive wards, Earth Spirit would be able to counter that with gem. So Navi seeing this opportunity here mid to potentially push in. ArtStyle once again staying in the back of the line, trying to stay back as far as possible, letting the Lycan and Dendi get up front. Dendi doesn't even produce a lot of damage, so in many ways here you've got 3 cores now that can do a lot of damage. Witch Doctor still doesn't have his level 16, so he still doesn't have his ult. The tanky frontliner here is Dijara, and there's the Darkseer ultimate. Everybody popped BKB. He's going to be able to get... He's actually silenced. He didn't have his BKB, that's why. He got silenced. Gets his paralyzing cask off. Voodoo Restoration on all the time. Maledict and a Death Ward. And there's the good game. I'm just going to go back and watch that fight one more time just to see kind of what happened. So general BKB'd prior. Actually, they do not have BKBs. That's just a graphics defect there. Not sure why that's on. Well, they did BKB at some point there. So the Darkseer vacuum into the ultimate. Everybody drops their little Necro units. ArtStyle is just sitting there. He actually gets silenced. Remember, he doesn't have a BKB just yet. Nice if he did. He'd be able to participate in the fight a little bit more. He needs to run away. He's going to get killed. Chaos Knight's going to target him. Look at everybody's going after him. They're just waiting for that ultimate to go off. And I believe the Vengeful Spirit's far enough away. There's the Dendi ult doing a lot of damage. ArtStyle finally gets his cask off. It's only going to stun a little bit. It's going to give him enough time to go ahead and cast his Death Ward from behind a tree. Although it looks like Nature's Prophet's going to be able to see that anyway. But even at level 2, with an Ag Scepter, this Death Ward is going to be able to just destroy the Nature's Prophet before Nature's Prophet's going to be able to finish off ArtStyle. And there's his level 16. Going to go ahead and put his ultimate, potentially. Doesn't matter, because at this point it's game. Team White at the Tier 3 tower is what does it. So, you know, let's kind of review here. What is it that made ArtStyle so successful here? And I think, I'm not even sure. In many ways, it seems just fortuitous, his positioning. Maybe fortuitous that Polarity didn't quite... I think they underestimated the ability of a Witch Doctor to have an effect early game with that Paralyzing Cask. They had this Earth Spirit that's going to jump in. It's going to Darkseer that's going to jump in addition to the Chaos Knight, who's going to pull the enemy to him. So you've got this core, and the Chaos Knight, of course, produces illusions. So, in many ways, this pick just fit the lineup, I think, really well. But of course, ArtStyle did... he played it well. He cast his cask as soon as he could. Pretty much most of the time. He kept his Voodoo Restoration on as soon as he was getting kind of in danger. And he used that cast to his advantage. You got the Howl damage, also the Sticky Napalm damage, and he was actually able to contribute to fights more than I think people realized. And then you get the quick death wards off from positions where the enemy has trouble getting to you. Then even with the Earth Spirits, with stun and silences, even with the Vengeful Spirit swaps and stun, even with the Chaos Knight, Reality Rift, and stun, he was able to do a really good job in that game. So keep in mind, though, that he did get high priority. He was a prioritized hero. He did not sit around as a very low-level hero, not get a lot of experience, stay out of harm's way. He actually farmed. He did so pretty well. Witch Doctor's a decent farming support. Not the best, but he's able to get a couple of items. He got that Ags up. He actually got the Aether Lens pretty quickly. Very important for him. You can see that's able to help him contribute to team fights without being ganked, being out of range of the reality rifts and the stuns and all that other stuff. So, you know, go forth in your games and follow in the style of ArtStyle, and maybe you too will have success. Until next time, good luck and have fun, my fellow scrubs.